Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be about chaos gardening and keeping rabbits for not only meat and fur, but for fertilizer. I want to preface this video by saying I am not a gardener. I raise meat rabbits. I used to work at a dairy. All of my veggie growing experience is classic greenhouse or high tunnel education. Box gardening was something that was required because I don't have enough room to put a high tunnel here on this property. So I've had to learn the ins and outs of box gardening. There is a lot of science behind growing things in soil. There's a lot of nutritional science that I don't know, but many people do, and many people talk about it. But I am more of the type of gardener where I will throw seed and I will plant seedlings, and whatever grows, grows, and whatever doesn't, doesn't. This is less of a educational video and more of a personal experience video, as well as a little bit of a video about the benefits of rabbit manure for gardens. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Why not start at the beginning? The beginning is fertilizer and growing medium. There's a lot of different growing mediums. There's a lot of different composts. We use just a garden mix, which is 50% loam, 50% compost. And we also put in fertilizer, not commercial fertilizers, fertilizers from our rabbits. Now, I'm not a scientist. I am not taking slides of manure or urine to figure out which one carries the most nutrients. I don't know. I just collect manure and I put it in my boxes and I grow things in it. The thing about rabbits is their manure is actually a cold fertilizer. You don't have to compost it. Any other manure, like cow manure, horse manure, lots of other animal manure has to be composted before it gets on any plants or mixed into any type of soil that you're going to plant with. Uncomposted manure is hot. It will burn your plants. Rabbit manure is cold. You can put it directly on or underneath all of your plants into your garden boxes, which we do every time we build a new box, and it's not going to hurt your plants. Put up like a small diagram up here, basically showing how we put our boxes together when we make new boxes. But we start with doing 25% logs and sticks and leaves, all the junk stuff that we have lying around, and then we cover it up to 50% of the way with rabbit manure. And then we take our compost loam mixture, we finish the box with it. And then we also, as we're doing that, we kind of mix together the first couple layers of rabbit manure with the garden soil, and then we finish it with just like top garden soil. We also don't put any bottoms on our garden boxes, so the bottom of what we are putting in them is like directly on the earth. What we've found is that when we set our boxes up this way, the worms and all of the good insects from the ground layer kind of go up into the box, and they break apart everything, and they sort of move it around and basically just finish the boxes for us, if that makes sense. I'm not a scientist. I didn't go to school for this. It's my personal experience as well as my personal observations. Using rabbit manure has allowed us to basically forego any type of commercial fertilizer. Again, we're just growing for us. In a farm situation where you are selling veggies or herbs or greens or anything like that, if you were row cropping or if you were greenhouse gardening, you would probably still want to, rely on commercial fertilizers. But to feed us here, we don't need any commercial fertilizer. Occasionally here and there, if the plants need it, I'll put in some calcium, but usually I don't have a problem. I also make sure to, not plant the same thing in the same boxes every year. This one over here was cucumbers, and now this one is cucumbers. Some people say that it's the manure that is the nutrient-dense fertilizer. Some people say that it's the urine. I don't know. All I know is that all of my stuff is mixed together, and I put it out in the manure pile. And then when I go to build a box or amend a box, I just take a bunch of it and I put it in the box and I mix it with soil. So far, that seems to be working. There are some people and some channels that have this great collection system where they have their rabbit manure collected and then they sift it and then they put it in bags to store. We don't do that just because we don't have a whole lot of extra time. We have found that it still doesn't really make a difference. We still get really good results with just putting all of the rabbit manure, rabbit urine, as well as the shavings in here. It probably does make the boxes a little bit more acidic, but again, we haven't found an issue. I planted everything way too early and we're still not seeing that much of an issue. The cucumbers are suffering pretty hard. I think out of the 6 that I planted, I have 4 that are pretty viable. The other ones are kind of stunted and they sort of brought in a little bit of pest pressure. Even with planting early and just throwing things in the garden is still doing fantastic. So speaking of throwing a bunch of random things into the garden, we're going to talk about chaos gardening now. Chaos gardening is my favorite way to garden. And it's because I don't have to worry about anything. I get seed and I throw it in, and what happens happens, and what doesn't happen also doesn't happen. Now, I do get seedlings for certain crops like my tomatoes or my cucumbers. This year, normally I try to do my own seedlings, but this year I did not have time or space, so I just bought them. Those are the ones that I kind of don't chaos garden. Like, I have also a rosemary plant that I did not grow myself. I just got it and I stuck it in the box. I also have some basil that I bought as seedlings too. But any type of greens growing, chaos gardening. I do start stuff in trays. These are just a bunch of charged starts that probably are just going to go into the manure pile, and I'm not going to worry about them because I have plenty of chard. These are all mustard greens that basically all I did to plant them was just throw seed in. I did that with some more the other day. I think it was, we did kale and we did more mustard greens in all of this area. And we have done a lot of succession planting of the greens. We have a lot of vine stuff here, so every time we see vines, we just pull them out. Fair warning, if you feed hay to your rabbits and you are using their manure for your garden, you will have weeds. Just kind of comes with the territory. There was actually extra in the container that we bought, so I double planted just in case, but most of these are actually doing not too bad. These ones were the ones that had the most pest issues on them, so despite that, they're doing pretty good. I planted some companion basil for the tomatoes. It's doing all right. It's not super strong, but again, I took these seedlings home and I did not do any type of hardening off. I just stuck them in the ground. And again, whatever grows, grows, and what doesn't, doesn't. And don't be afraid, friends, to use whatever container you can get your hands on. This container came from my mom's house. The only problem that I have with this is I'm fairly certain that it is not going to drain well. It does have a bunch of holes on the bottom, but we may have to go and put some drainage holes in the sides as well. But for now, all we have in here is lettuce, which tends to grow pretty well anyway. It's fairly prolific. So this section of the box I am fairly excited about. It's mostly salad turnip and greens. So I direct sowed all of these salad turnips. Something is getting into them, but as they continue to grow bigger and bigger, we will just kind of thin them out a little bit, monitor what they're doing. So I seeded some Salanova in our trays, and this is what it's starting to look like. I just transplanted it the other day, and it looks pretty crowded right now, but the idea is that Whatever is too crowded and not doing well, we will either pull early or we will just pull completely. Yes, this is mint, and no, I did not make a mistake by planting it freely in my garden, and I will tell you why. Soil around my garden is super, super wet. That's why we are basically growing everything in boxes. Now, if you look behind, all of that is jewelweed. Now, jewelweed is useful. However, I like tea. I like tea, and my husband really likes mint tea. So the idea is that I am going to basically take all of this soil that is too hard to grow tomatoes in, greens in, cucumbers, stuff like that, and I'm going to replace it with stuff that comes back every year, and then continue to fight all year to push it all back. But that's fine, because as long as I can use it, as long as I can harvest it, I can eat it, it's useful, I'll keep it around. I also would love to mow in here and just smell mint for a couple hours rather than grass. Love the smell of grass. Like the smell of mint better. I have used mint and ground cover crops before. I will say mint probably is pretty invasive, but this area here is the area that we are pretty much trying to create like a full food plot where half of what we produce just comes back and isn't hard to deal with. I just put blackberries in, and those are gonna eat up a lot of the wetness in the soil, but B, a lot of the space, and I will get something out of it. So, food forest. Yes, that is straw. The best weed barrier that you can get is going to be leaf litter. However, I have a bunch of stuff that I do. I work, I take care of family, I take care of my rabbits, I show my rabbits, I do all of the things. So for me, leaf litter isn't really viable. I'm not going to keep it through the year. I'm not going to have bags of it. I'm not going to put it in a pile and use it. So I just go out and I buy I buy straw, chopped straw. And again, it may make the box a little bit acidic, but I use it to keep the dirty soil from kind of getting back up on the leaves and causing some fungal issues, which can happen. There's a lot of pathogens in soil that can affect the leaves specifically of lots of different plants. So I just lay a barrier down so that when it does rain, all of that extra backsplash stays underneath the straw. Will absolutely contribute to the weeds in here. Leaf litter does not do that. So another reason to actually use leaf litter and not straw. Don't be like me. I also plant marigolds to help cut down on some pest pressure. Again, I don't have a whole lot of pest pressure here. It looks like I have more pest pressure in the form of larger animals. But I do absolutely utilize sacrificial plants. And if I can get a little bit out of them while they feed the pests and distract the pests, I'm into it. I could not grow cabbage here or broccoli. They would it would be decimated. I don't grow any type of cabbage, but when I do put the kale out, I immediately get like cabbage bugs. So I don't know a whole lot about pests, just that they eat my plants and I pick them off and I squish him when I find him, which I guess is another chaos gardening thing. I don't know. Maybe it's a lazy gardener thing. No idea. I don't usually spray anything. However, I'm not really against spraying. I just don't have the time. So you probably won't find self-sufficiency here in my garden. But it's fine because I like doing it. And if you like doing it too, it's also fine. I also don't water this stuff really heavy once it establishes. Usually once everything's established, I will come out here every 2 days, every 3 days to just kind of get everything a little bit wet, give it a break from the intense heat. But usually the only time we're using a whole lot of water is when we are getting things to actually take to the soil, from when we first plant them. I also don't utilize a planter, a seed planter. I probably should, just so that I know when things will do best. Like right now, if you plant spinach, it will die or it will struggle to seed because it is too hot out. It's probably useful to have one of those just in case. I just know that from experience, these are the crops that you plant now, these are the crops that you plant later. Like I would not sow any more peas. I have a pea planter on the porch, and I would not sow any more peas right now. I would wait another month. You're always going to want to check what zone you are in because that will help you decide what you can plant, what you can't plant. I went ahead, again, chaos gardening, I went ahead and I planted kale a couple days ago. I direct sowed kale and I said, you know what? If it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Seed is $4 a container. And it's fine because if I get something out of it, I make the money back. If I get one meal out of everything, then I've made my money back. For me, chaos gardening is more sustainable, because then I don't have to babysit my garden and I don't have to worry about, oh, today I have to direct sow this or today I have to seed this. Coming from a greenhouse education, I did that. And it's fine and it's fun. And if I were doing it for more than ourselves, then I would. But this is just for us. It feeds us while it's here and it doesn't when it's not. To put these beds to sleep every year, what I do is I pull all of the leftover vines out. I pull everything out and I kind of just put it in a bucket and I wait for a little while, let it kind of wilt a bit. And then I add just like a top layer of rabbit manure and a little bit more loam, and I kind of reintroduce all of those things that I pulled out of the garden, because all of that stuff is organic matter that will break down and feed the microorganisms in the soil. So basically, I just dig through the whole box. I kind of aerate it a little bit, and then I put all of the organic matter back in, as well as more rabbit, fertilizer, and more soil. And then basically I just hope for a heavy snowpack. If I don't get a heavy snowpack, I will put more straw on top of the beds to kind of insulate it. And then usually it's ready for the next growing season. If you grow peas, my friends, don't let the vines go to waste. Once the peas are done producing, take all of those things, put them back into your garden. Those give the soil nitrogen hardcore, and nitrogen is good for your soil. So anybody who's growing peas, put the pea vines back in, please. Let your garden eat them. They're fantastic. Before you come at me about aerating my boxes, it's not the same thing as tilling. I don't do it before I plant. I do it after my garden has produced for the year. And then it is put to bed, snug like a bug in a rug, and then I use it the next year. But I don't do any type of hand tilling of these boxes before I plant into them. I personally have found that aerating the box a little bit helps kind of distribute all of the nutrients that you have put into it / is already existing in it. I have aerated in the past before planting. I have also found that it helps the roots take really good hold, because they're not pushing on dense, compacted dirt. So, which, is just as bad as continuously tilling all the time. So aerating is key, in my opinion. Okay, that is it, guys, on chaos gardening, and how I throw stuff in boxes and grow it. Again, this wasn't really a how-to video, but it was a how I do video. Get out there, don't forget to plant, throw some random seed everywhere. I give you permission. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.